We are live, sort of. We're not actually live, but we're recording. And I am so grateful to be here with Kate de Palma. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Amazing. And I will let you introduce yourself and all of the incredible things that you do. And I just want to give a little bit of a teaser that Kate is one of the few product-based businesses that have joined us on the podcast, at least up until now. That's very exciting to me for many reasons, and I'm sure we'll dive into all of those as we go. So I will let you introduce yourself. What do you do? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on your show. I'm so excited to be here. And like you said, it is a little bit different for me as a product-based business to be chatting with you today, but I think there's so much crossover. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm the founder of a candle company. It's called Scented Designs, and we're based in San Jose, California. And we're all about clean crafted candles. And we started out primarily for retail, and then since then have moved into the wholesale space, and then also into the client gifting, corporate gifting, special events in your life space. Trying to do it all, really. But I started out as a teacher, actually. So this was a complete 180 for me, jumping into starting a business. And that's happened. I launched the business in 2016. So it's been all of a sudden a number of years, but a side hustle for most of those. So transitioning into full time was a whole thing too.
Oh, I can't wait to dig into that. That's amazing. So you're fully full-time. This is all you do now.
That
All
is correct.
you do. I just did hand quotes because
Right.
we all know.
All.
Right.
All with capital letters that I do.
Amazing.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. What was that transition like? Like if somebody, we have a lot of people who are like, I just want to do my passion project full time. There's fear there. There's a lot of conflicting guidance out there. So what was that like for you, and what would you share with somebody who might be in that space?
I would say there's definitely fear. You have to kind of reframe that fear and look at it as excitement and opportunity instead. And I say that because I actually left my teaching job twice to run the business. And the first time I did it, I ran the business full time for about 2 years, and I got scared, and I went back to teaching, and I kept up running the business kind of as a side hustle because I really loved it and I cared a lot about it. That idea of overnight success, being able to make it and pay your bills right away, that wasn't happening for me. And I essentially freaked out. I got scared, and I went back to my day job. And it wasn't after a couple more years of running it as a side hustle, watching it continue to grow, doing all these different things to get it to grow, that I kind of took a second look at it and realized, you know what, this is something that I can do. And on the one hand, the journey I've been on, I wouldn't change it. That's just what it is. And my second batch of teaching, I met a lot of wonderful colleagues and kids. But I also, at the same time, kind of regret not sticking with it the first time, because I felt like, that was a couple of years lost where I could have made these great strides if I had the confidence and didn't give in to that fear. So I think the fear's there. It's going to be like with any big leap in life. But it's just thinking about, weighing it. Is it worth it? Would the change that it's going to bring into your life, is that worth the risk? Is it worth kind of tackling that fear? And for me, it took me 2 times, and I would say it has ultimately been totally worth it. And I don't have any plans to go back.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's worth hearing that you're not like giving up or, surrendering or submitting to failure if you go back and just make sure that you're taken care of. And I think that there's a lot of, let me know what your experience was, but I feel like there's a lot of clarity that comes when you're not in that like stressed out financial hustle mode all the time, and you can just breathe You've got that paycheck coming in. Yeah, you have a little less time, but you can also make decisions from a place of like, do I really want to be doing this? Is this where I want to be? It's a lot of people feel like they are giving up. They're like, God, it just didn't work. That's it. I'm going back into
Mm-hmm.
corporate. My dream is dead. And, it's sometimes that's part of the journey.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think what you said about the finances part, and obviously we all need to pay our bills. Money matters. And it's true, making decisions about your business when it's not coming from that place of fear or that place of financial scarcity, where you are able to look at it a little bit differently. And that did make a difference for me.
Beautiful. Well, you are doing the thing now. And I was on your website earlier. I am a big candle fan. And
Woo.
I just was, yeah. And I love that I know that this is geared towards sort of business development, and we're going to get into all of that. But I want to ask, what about candles sort of drew you into wanting to create an entire ecosystem around that product? And soy wax is a thing that people are sort of looking for, but maybe might not know a whole lot about. And there's like wax blends and soy blends. And I would love to sort of learn just about your product and why you love it and why it's unique to what you do.
One of my favorite things to talk about. So, yes, of
Yay.
course. One of the reasons I got into candle making was because I loved the kind of tactile feel of it. I mean, very sensory, very in a world that's so digital. Even as a teacher, there was so much on the computer, and I wanted, something to do with my hands, something to do after school that was not stressful and not grading papers. So I just picked it up as a hobby, and I kind of fell in love with it. Like, I'm a candle lover as well, just the ambiance and the sensory element of it. And I just loved getting to work with the different scents and blend them and, learn how to create a really nice candle and learn about the different types of waxes and oils and materials that were available, because candles, because they were everywhere, right? I mean, I have a lot of candles in my house, but almost everyone I know, maybe you have a candle lying around your house. So they're kind of everywhere. And despite that, we don't know a lot necessarily about where they came from, what goes into them, how they were made, what we're actually, putting into our air when we burn them. We just kind of accept that that's the candle we have and we're going to burn it, and, that's that. But when you delve into it, and especially I've now been making candles for over a decade, which is kind of crazy to say. I've seen the evolution of the raw supplies, even
Mm.
just from 10 years ago, the oils that were available and how clean burning they were versus what's available now has definitely evolved. And I think there does need to be more education around the different types of wax and what I was just saying about the ingredients that we're putting in our candles and burning in our air.
I love it. And so what would you say? Because, I have always been that person. You go to Target and you see that, you go down the candle aisle and you're like, oh my God, this smells so good. You bring it home. You don't really think about it. You love the way that it makes your home smell. What should we be looking for sort of as red flags and also as things that we may want to prioritize when we're looking at things like candles?
Obviously, scent matters. I mean, I agree. Like, show me something that smells amazing and I'm all in. But a lot of the kind of more widely commercially available candles, like the ones at Target or Bath and Body Works, Yankee Candle, a lot of them are made with paraffin wax. And kind of what we've learned a little bit more about is paraffin is a petroleum byproduct. So there's toxins in that wax that, when burned, basically releases the same kind of compounds as what's found in diesel fumes. And that includes, I know, yucky, right? And that includes a number of known carcinogens. So with the industry is trying to move, I think, in a sense, towards more plant-based waxes. Here at Seven Designs, we use soy wax, which comes from soybeans. It's a cleaner burning wax. It's biodegradable. Comes from a renewable resource. It burns really clean, and it burns longer too. So you actually get more bang for your buck with the same size candle. So it's a little bit more efficient in that sense too. But coconut wax is another one. One thing to look out for as a consumer is if it says soy wax blend. This is my hot insider tip here, is that for it to be called a soy candle or soy blend, it only needs to be 51% soy. So it could be a para-soy blend and have, the paraffin in it, because I think it is cheaper to source. So look for that, paraffin-free candle or 100% soy candle, natural soy candle, something like that is one of my tips for consumers.
Good to know. I feel like, and again, like this kind of education is, I don't know, not many people wake up and they're like, I wonder what kind of wax is in my candles.
Right, there's no reason to, but
yeah.
and that appeals to my teacher heart too, I would say that.
Totally. And that was like, I'm so excited that we're going in this direction because, I mean, it's the Course Creators Academy podcast. And even if you don't have a course, like it is education based, right? Like we're all using our experiences to provide some sort of education for people that may not already exist. So I'm curious, how do you provide, these little tips or educational bits for people to just like, I think it's hard because we don't want to get up on a soapbox or a wax box. Like, just preach and preach and preach. And people will be like, can she just stop already? But it is important. And I think it's kind of tricky because this is not something that's top of mind. But as you said, most homes have candles. So it's this sort of like sneaky toxin that's in all of our homes, and it's worth talking about.
Absolutely. And when I first started the business, I did a lot of in-person markets, just, craft fairs and pop-ups and stuff like that. And that was cool because it really gave me the opportunity to talk with, my customers and tell them these things we're talking about here and give them candle care tips and do's and don'ts and just recommendations, and having to then take kind of that interaction and translate it to, a website, to the online space. How do you do that? And definitely a work in progress, but things like blog posts, things like, social media is such a great way to interact with the audience and have your videos and your tips and, asking them questions about, how they prefer to burn a candle or when, or I think it's so important to still be making that connection. And even something simple like not just what goes in the candle, but how to burn the candle. One thing I would talk about a lot is you see candles that tunnel, that have sort of that, they kind of burn down around the wick and they don't burn all that wax around the edge. And people have seen it, but they don't know why it happens. So even something super simple, and I put this on the little match boxes that I give out, with each purchase. And it's basically burn the candle long enough for the wax to melt to the edge of the container, because wax has memory, especially soy wax, because it's a softer wax. So you can't just burn it for 10 minutes, then blow it out, because you only have a little melt pool. And the next time it's just going to burn straight down that wick. So you got to, that first burn, have patience, let it burn, let it enjoy. The scent will get better, stronger also anyway. So that's just kind of one example of, here, let me give you, I'm creating this product and helping you get the most out of it too.
Beautiful. And that's what I want to dive into today. Like the most epic transition ever. Because I think with products and even services, right? Like I have a web design service and I could potentially create somebody's website, hand it off, say peace out, and go about my business. Or we can provide education, maintenance tips, like ways to, I never do that. I have all of my candles are just pits. Question, selfishly, if you've already done that to your candles, is it too late to fix it?
I don't know how official this is, but I totally will just take a spoon and kind of scrape off some of that extra wax around the edge.
Good
Not
to
official,
know.
but yeah. And then if you have a little like wax melter or something, you can then take some of that extra little wax from the candle and just melt it in your little melter so it doesn't totally go to waste.
Brilliant. Thank you. I feel
You're
satisfied.
welcome.
No,
Small
but I
things.
love that. Yeah. It's and right, like these are little tips and it's almost so I was at a conference a couple weeks ago, about a month ago now, and somebody spoke about community versus audience and sort of the differences between the two. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, what did she say? I have it in my notebook right here. I'm going to make some noise as I look at it. But basically, it's like engagement versus like one-way communication was
Mm-hmm.
essentially what she said. And for product-based businesses, what I'm seeing is a lot more two-way engagement. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more like community around the product. And you may not need to have like a full-blown Facebook group or whatever that looks like, but social media, live videos, reels, we get to learn what our clients and our customers are wanting to learn or have questions about. Or you can, like, what I keep seeing over and over again is people who have products who share a little bit about how to use it or how they made it or, some sort of background that
Mm-hmm.
triggers engagement and it opens a conversation. Have you experienced this?
100%.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. I just responded to a comment on my Instagram where it was someone saying, "Thanks so much for sharing the process. It's cool to see how you make these." And not only does that give me a way to connect with people, but it's cool because as a small business, the kind of things I'm promoting are woman owned, handcrafted, in the US, eco friendly. And just to be able to kind of show that and put your money where your mouth is. Like if these are the things I'm selling the product as or the under these labels, I need to show that. I need to like show them why it matters that we're woman owned, why it matters that they're handcrafted, what that means, and being able to get their responses and hear that they think that's cool and what their questions are about the process. That all just makes, I don't know, it's a story. We're creating a story together, and that is invaluable and fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so the quote was, an audience is a monologue and a community is a dialogue. So when we can
Mm-hmm.
take our audience and like, these seemingly one-way channels like Instagram and create a dialogue there, you start to create a community even on a space that was designed for one, single direction communication. So I love that. And I think that engagement from you really matters because there are probably 100 conscious candle making companies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Trying to do the same thing, getting, good quality ingredients into people's homes. So you are what people are buying. They're buying
Yes.
candles by Kate. They're not buying candles, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I just bought this like underwater housing for my phone because I'm going to Tahiti. And
Yes.
I post it. It's become this like thing. I looked for weeks on how I could either house my camera or house my phone, but I knew I needed something to take pictures underwater. And I did all this research and I found this company. They're in South Africa, and I took it out to test it over the weekend. And I posted on my Instagram story and I tagged them. And they commented back and said, make sure that you put the water droplet spray on the dome. So it's this like, it's a housing with this big dome. So not only did they see my tag and they like, hearted it or whatever, but they engaged a real person, saw something that I was
Mm-hmm.
doing wrong, and they gave me a solution. And
Mm-hmm.
that felt amazing. It makes you feel like the company cares. It makes you feel like they are not just in it for the money, that they're providing a quality of service and that they are passionate about what they do. So much so that they are just helping this little nobody who is just posting and tagging that, and the fact that you hear and listen to the people that are engaging with you and then provide solutions and answers to them, regardless of who they are. They don't have to be an influencer for you to pay attention to them. That is so valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that story too that you just shared, because it is. And I feel the same way with it's that back to that candle burning, and I want you to get the most out of it. I want you to get your money's worth and get that big beautiful burn and big beautiful fragrance, and the best way to do it is, here's the tip for that.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. So when we're talking about having a business, for you, it's creating products that potentially like you could explode. I'm sure you already have, actually. How do we, like, we talk to a lot of course creators and online entrepreneurs with digital products and how they plan to scale. So a lot of people who do sort of like coaching or service-based things who are looking to scale through e-learning, it seems to be an economical alternative to hiring, right? So like, instead of hiring more coaches, you create an online course so that you can essentially duplicate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For products, what does that scaling journey look like for you? And how would that, like, what parts of your business might you be thinking about scaling that people with products might not think about? Like, obviously you want to scale the actual product, make that really efficient and whatever, and what
Mm-hmm.
that looks like. And are there other parts of your business that you're looking to expand or, create content around? What does that look like for you?
It's been a journey, as I'm sure you're aware. And yes, definitely some differences with the actual creation of the product, but so much of it too is what's online as well. So responding to email inquiries and having um, responding to email inquiries, social media, just the back and forth on custom orders and what they're looking for, answering questions that people might have, visibility, just getting out there in front of people, website maintenance, email marketing. There's a lot that is also that any business owner needs to do to be visible and make the sales and keep the customer retention and ascension. So work in progress for sure. But some of the first people I hired, besides like photographer, kind of, contract for one-off projects, photographer, videographer, but some of the first people I hired were a virtual assistant just to help me keep up with the emails and the inquiries, an online business manager to help me organize launches and email marketing and content creation. Oh my goodness, that is a never ending never ending blog posts and SEO and keywords and product listings and photos for the products. And so getting people to help me kind of with all that stuff on the website and the email marketing and the sales funnels and the customer CRM stuff. Like, I'll go back to I was a teacher. I have no no experience with any of this really. So just getting people to help me with that, and having a business coach and a community of other business owners to really help me elevate and accelerate my business and my scaling. So I sorry, I know I was all over the place there, but I made a big list. I made a big list of all the tasks I was doing, and I made of those, which ones do I enjoy doing, which ones am I good at, which ones are the income producing ones. And then from there I started to delegate.
Like the last like 3 minutes, I hope everybody goes back and listens to that like 4 times.
They might need to, because I was all over the place, but
No, you said, so basically what I'm hearing is like, you are a business owner and these are the things that you have on your plate, regardless of what you do.
Mhm,
Courses, coach, products, all of those things are things that we all hopefully are doing or should be doing. And
mhm,
it's a lot, but we all do it at first.
mhm,
And then you're like, oh, fast track to burnout. Who's the first person I should hire? And a lot of times we get that wrong. And we hire
mhm.
where we think we need to hire and it doesn't help us. And you're like, why am I still doing everything? I have help now. So what are your thoughts? I love that tip to just take note of everything that you do. A lot of times people are like, I don't have time to do that. I'm like, well, make the time or else you're going to keep doing it forever. Like, and yeah, that's brilliant. So when you looking back on your journey and your sort of hiring process, if you feel comfortable sharing, like what mistakes did you make in the hiring process, and where would you recommend somebody who is listening, they're like, yes, this is exactly where I am and I want to make sure that I'm making good decisions. Where should they start with the delegation and the hiring?
I think there's a difference between kind of hiring for the tasks you feel like you should be doing versus the ones that you actually need someone to do. So I, at one point, was paying quite a bit of money for a social media manager. And because I felt like I needed one, like I didn't have a lot of Instagram followers. I'm like, okay, let me get more. I feel like I should be doing social media. But that's not where I'm making the sales. So I ultimately was putting a lot of money towards this woman who was fabulous. She was great. And I enjoyed working with her, but that's not where the money should have been going at that point. But I went for it because I didn't really know what else to do. I was like, oh, I should be delegating. I'm not quite sure who I should delegate to. So social media, let's do that. Without actually taking a closer look at my business and where I'm actually making the sales. Like that's where the investment needs to go, not social media because I wanted it to look pretty. So I would say, you know your business better than anyone. Where are your people coming in? Where are they coming from? What's the gap between, when they come into your universe and when you make the conversion? And where can someone help you with that, with the customer journey? Even something for me, for our business, like inquiries. We get a number of inquiries now that we are doing a lot more with corporate gifting and bulk gifting. We get, fairly steady stream of inquiries about if they're hosting an event and want candles for swag bags, or holidays coming up, they want holiday gifts for their employees. And we just weren't responding in a timely manner to all the inquiries we were getting. And you can template, like I created a template to use to help me speed up that process. But even then, it wasn't providing the kind of personalized attention I do want to give them, because they've told me, here's what I need, by filling out the form. And I was just giving them this canned response because that's all we had time to send.
Yeah.
So I was able to identify that as that's a hiccup in the customer journey. And if I kind of fix that area by getting some help with someone who I can train and who then is familiar enough with my business to be able to respond in a timely manner, that made a big difference. So conversions from that inquiry form shot up after that. So just looking for those places, where can you get the most bang for your buck? Where are you not able to keep up or don't want to? And let's plug that gap.
Oh my gosh, you are full of just like golden nuggets.
You're so
Everybody,
sweet.
everyone I talk to is like, I need to hire for social media. And in fact,
Mm-hmm.
I actually get a lot of requests to do social media for people. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame them. I claim to do digital media and yet I don't do social media. It's like a weird thing. But I think it's a big time suck for people. And I think the misconception is that if your social media was better, you would get more clients. Like people will
Mm-hmm.
find you if you had great, consistent social media. And I'm not saying social media is not important. It is massively important. But we put so much weight there to fix all of our problems when that's not where the problems are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I've done it. I've done it. I've hired at like 3 different social media people. It's hard. It's hard when you have like it requires more training than we think also,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know your business. They just know social media. So you have to train them on your business first. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to create things that you don't like. Why don't you like it? Because they don't understand who you are and what you do and what your brand is. And that's not their fault. So
Mm-mm.
anyway,
No.
stepping down off of my wax box. Um, yeah, I love that.
Though,
What's that?
I was going to say, I've made the mistake too, though, of hiring someone and then not taking the time to train them. And as soon as they do something I don't like, or that's not what I was expecting, I freak out about the money I'm spending, essentially, instead of realizing, no, I need to train them. That's on me. That's not on them. That's on me.
Totally. Yeah, hiring is such it's not something that we immediately know that we're going to have to get ourselves into when we start businesses. And
Mm-hmm.
it is not easy, and firing is the worst. And yeah, we could talk about that for a whole episode, I'm
That
sure.
we could.
Oh my gosh. Well, and you also just gave great advice about figuring out like where in the customer journey are you falling behind that is misaligned with the way that you want to serve, right? I'm sure you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to neglect people's emails, and I'm sure you don't want to give them canned responses. That's not who you are, but it's sometimes like that's how we just keep the wheel spinning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love so much that you dialed in on that, because I was just talking to someone about communication and how that in and of itself can make people feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that safety builds trust. And I've been in that situation so many times where it's like, you mean well, you want to respond, but you don't, and those opportunities just fall away. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the follow up too. Like a lot of the sales are made in the follow up. And if you don't have a system or some sort of organized way of keeping track of those, having an assistant even just follow up, maybe with a template response at that point, nothing wrong with templates. Just looking for those opportunities. Where are you losing people and how can you get them back?
Completely. I love that. I don't want to forget to talk about your, I guess, have you been referring to it as corporate gifting, or the sort of the customized options that you offer people? That sounded so amazing. And I almost hope that my team's not listening, because they're getting handles.
They're great gifts, great gifts. Yeah, I call it, I mean, corporate gifting or client gifting. I've definitely have played around with terms and search terms people use to find it, etc. But essentially, it's the idea that I can create a candle with a custom label for a business with their logo and their branding on it, and maybe a message, and they can then use that as a way to connect with people and build relationships, whether employee appreciation or client thank yous for signing on. And what's been really cool for me with that is because I've been able to put a tangible product in the hands of other business owners who don't have a tangible product, who don't have a product line, don't want their own product line, but it's a way to kind of create something physical for service-based business owners. Like I work with a lot of like photographers and makeup artists and realtors where it's, you guys do such amazing work. Here's a candle. It has your information on it. It's a reminder of in someone's home, in their living room, they're burning it. It's a cool gift it's taking swag or corporate gifting or merch or whatever you want to call it, and kind of elevating it a little bit, elevating your customer's journey by having this extra little thank you or extra little touch. And it's cool for me to get to create something that helps other business owners as well, and I really enjoy that.
Completely. And I love this so much because there's so much guidance out there about like sending a welcome box or a thank you gift, and I love that. Like, gifting is my love language. Receiving it, giving it, I love it.
Yes.
And yet there's like, maybe somebody doesn't want a Rebel Media t-shirt, or maybe they don't want another notebook and pen. Like, notebooks are so useful, but I have 10 blank ones that I'm never going to use. And when it comes to creating a user experience, like we throw that term around, but think about the word. Like, you are creating a customer experience, and a candle allows you to tap into all of the senses. So like,
Mm-hmm.
what web designer is going to send their clients a candle? The one that every time they light it, they're going to feel relaxed. They're going to feel taken care of. They're going to
Yes,
remember
yes.
you. Oh my God, it's so smart.
I mean, I'm not sure. I can't take credit for that. I'm sure
You
other
can
people
take
have done it
it. You
too.
totally can.
But it is interesting that with all the branding that's being done, because like studies have shown how important personalization is, especially kind of in this day and age, people want to feel taken care of and they want to feel seen and heard and valued, and kind of that personalized element really plays into that. But I don't see it a ton with candles. And I just think candles are so smart because they have such wide appeal. And because, like you said, it is an experience. You light it, you smell it, you get that feeling. And there's such a powerful connection between, scent and memory in the brain as well. So if you're going to harness the power of scent and get people thinking about you and your business, that's brilliant.
Totally. And you better provide a good service, or else that scent will forever be burned into their brain.
Yes.
Oh, that is so awesome. I love that so much. And it's almost like it reminds me of creating like a hotel experience where like every Hilton smells the same, or,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, do you do custom scents for brands?
Occasionally, yes. Kind of depends on just, logistics and
Yeah, I feel like
order
that'd be hard.
volume and stuff like that. But it's, we tend to start with sort of like, here's some of the basic ones, because we've been working with them for so long and we know their customer favorites and we know like people are going to love
Mm,
them. You can get a little, a little risky, a little adventurous, and have us create something. I just created it was a rose teakwood blend for a
ooh,
boudoir photographer. Actually, she wanted something a little sensual but a little feminine, and it was great. It was perfect for her, and I was really happy to create that for her brand. And then a lot of people too, just that's a lot to deal with, and they want like a simplified, like, which is your relaxing scent? Yes, I want that. I know people will love it. But
yeah.
that's the cool thing too, is that we can customize what we're creating for the brand, not just the label, but the container and the scent too. So really, what are you looking for? What's your vision of it? And let's work together, however involved you want to be in that process, and just get you something that you and your customers will both love.
Beautiful. Okay, another selfish question. Is there a minimum that you can order for the branded candles?
you know, we have sort of our standard minimums, and it's based on the size of the container. But I think I've shared with you a special link for friends of Scented Designs, listeners of podcasts that I'm on, that has a lowered minimum order so that you can get started with some candles for your business without having to, break the bank on 100 candles at once. So I think we actually set the order minimum at 12 candles for anyone who is sort of a friend of Sun Designs or of your show. So that's the link I shared with you.
Amazing. I'll make sure that goes in the show notes if that's,
Woo, woo.
you want
Yes,
to share that
please.
widely. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. That's super generous and very exciting. Um,
I want to be able to work with businesses at all stages. Like, obviously, working with bigger businesses, bigger orders, that's great for us. But I care so much about working with other business owners, small business. I was there. I want to work with them too. So that's sort of our way with the lowered minimum order, to get those candles in the hands of businesses just starting out too, or just who don't have tons and tons of clients but want to do something special, or don't have a big team.
yeah. Amazing. Well, that is very exciting. I am like itching to go shopping now on your website. No, but thank you. And thank you for just having that passion to serve. I feel like you have a product, again, like there are so many candles in this world, but I don't know anybody who creates them from the energy and the mission that you have. And for you to be able to get out and share that, like, it's so brilliant of you to join podcasts and start to share that message with people's audiences who are probably like, again, I don't wake up and I'm like, I want to find the best candle person ever. Like, I hope I talk to my favorite candle person today. But now I'm like, I know who my favorite candle person is. It's Kate. And we
Oh,
want, right? Like, we want you to be everybody's favorite candle woman, you know?
yes, I
I
love
think that
that.
is the goal. I want to be everybody's favorite website girl. You know, it's like
Mhm.
people will connect to the person behind the business. And you do that so, so well. Even, you know, I think on a website that we often will use like stock imagery or, you know, pictures of candles, you use pictures of people. You have so many people on your website. And that just creates a little bit of like a subconscious connection to the energy and the sort of transformation that can come when you just light a candle in your space. It's
Oh,
you've done everything so well. I know it's
thank
been a
you.
journey and it's not an overnight thing, but whatever you're doing, like, keep it up because
Thank
you're
you.
nailing it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And you're right, it was a journey. When I first started, it was product, 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 product. And I didn't even want to show my face as a business owner. And then you realize over time, no, people do care. They do want to know who's behind it. And it took me a little while to step out from behind the product, but when I did, that's honestly, that's things changed. So thank you
Yeah.
for saying all that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can be. I'm the same way. Like, I'd rather not show my face. I'd rather be behind the scenes and not take credit. And like, you know, I think there's a fine line between sort of that humility and wanting people to recognize your success quietly
Hmm.
versus, you know, being a little bit more vulnerable and accessible. Cause yeah, people want to see you.
Hmm.
And you're very inspiring. So thank you for being
Yay.
brave.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing. I think we're almost coming up on time. But I just want to thank you for what you do. Thank you for saying yes to your dream and doing what it takes to bring it to fruition. And, you know, I'm sure the journey will continue. But do you have any sort of closing thoughts for people who are listening who might want to maybe start a product based business or just be in the business space in general? What would you have to share with them?
I would say it's so cliche. Network.
No,
Network,
that's
network.
huge.
It's huge. Surround yourself with people who are farther along in the journey than you are because they're going to help you feel less fearful around taking the next steps, which we were talking about earlier. And at the same time, not being intimidated by their success or where they are because their journey is not your journey. And it's great that they're farther along than you because they're going to help you. So that kind of comparison, syndrome or whatever you want to call it, kind of watching out for that, but not being afraid to get in the rooms with those people who have been doing it and are, people you can look up to. And otherwise, I would say too that if you're interested in a product based business, it's also 100% okay to start it and have it just be a side hustle because that's the passion is there and you're having fun with it. And I don't think I know anyone who runs a side hustle who doesn't love what they do with it. And it's okay to not take it full time. Like don't feel that pressure if it's not right for you. So listen to your gut.
Beautiful. I love both of those so much. And the thing that I want to touch on with like surrounding yourself with people who are ahead of the game is, or ahead of wherever you are in the journey, I would say. It's very easy to connect yourself and attach to people who are sort of peers. Like that's a very comfortable place to be. And it's sort of like the
Mhm.
blind leading the blind. And I mean that in like the best way possible.
Right, right.
But like, so I do jujitsu and it's so easy for like a white belt to come in with a friend who's a white belt and partner together because they both don't really know much. And it's like, there's no judgment because you're both sort of in that same realm. But then
Mhm.
there's nobody with you to show you the proper techniques or, you know, it's literally the blind leading the blind and it's like people can get hurt. where, if you feel like there's like, oh, they're not going to want to help me, or I don't want to bother them. Most people who have sort of this entrepreneurial experience and story and journey, oh my God, we just want to help you. We just want to help you save time, stress, money, get there faster, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if anything, like if you feel that way, reach out to Kate or me, because at least we want to help you. Right?
Yeah. Right. That's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation right now.
Totally. And I do want to touch on like if you so I had a business before this. And the guidance that we had, and it was a side hustle, my business partner and I had, we both worked at a gym, and we worked. We had a paycheck. It wasn't much, but we did have something. And we dove headfirst into like the power of broke. And people were like, burn the boats and you'll be able to figure it out on the way. And we're like, okay. Debt is not figuring it out. Debt is really, really depressing and difficult. And if you can keep yourself in a vibration of abundance and do your side hustle on the side until you can like project your month to month and not have to guess or feel like you have to like hustle a little extra because you don't know where that next person's coming from. Like that energy is very, very exhausting very fast. And I wish someone had told me that before. So thank you for spreading that message, because I think it needs to be out there a little bit more.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you again. You are
Thank you.
an absolute joy. I cannot wait to stay connected with you and to get candles, and just I'm very grateful for your time.
Likewise, thank you so much, and to everyone who's listening as well.
Absolutely. One more thing, how can people find you?
Oh, people can find our website is scenteddesigns.com. I'm on Instagram, Scented Designs Candle Co. And those are probably the first two places to look.
Brilliant. We'll pop those in the show notes for sure. And thank you again. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.